Good morning, America. Okay, we are officially live. Let me go ahead and record this beautiful moment. Good morning, guys. I'm so happy to be here with you. It's Monday. Let's see if we've got any amazing people that are going to join in. This has been an initiative I started the beginning of the year and coming on here live, making myself available to you guys, okay, and sharing what's going on in my world and also bringing you some diamonds, bringing you some value, right? And today we're actually going to be doing a pretty cool session together. I'm gonna go live on Instagram here. Now, people that are on YouTube get the better experience, especially with today, because I am going to be sharing my screen. We are actually going to be doing a deep dive on a probate family that I have actually helped. Good morning, Rebecca. Welcome to the live. And we are going to be actually sharing with you all the steps that I took. Good morning, Melissa. Welcome to the live. I'm going to be sharing with you the steps that I took with this family from beginning to end on a probate property. Okay. Mr. Caven, welcome. So happy you're here. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's Monday. Okay. Did everybody survive the Super Bowl yesterday? Some people are winning, some people are mad, right? I'm not a big sports girl, but basically it looked like the other team didn't even make 1 point. I didn't follow it all the way to the end, but Chu, good morning. Welcome. Glad you're here. So today, this initiative that I started was the beginning of the year, and the idea is to align with other agents in the marketplace that are not looking to survive 2026, but we are going to dominate 2026. And if you're associated with me, 9 times out of 10, you do probate, you know about probate, you want to go deeper in probate, you're thinking about going into probate, and this is the place to be. So I am a probate realtor that sells here in Florida throughout the state. Close about 50 transactions a year, about 15 million in probate sales. And I lead a team where I coach agents on how to do this exact same thing in their states and their marketplaces. Okay. So, a shameless plug for me is if you are interested in going deeper in probate and having the opportunity to work directly with me, there's a link in my bio. You can schedule an appointment with me. Let's talk. And I'd love to share our mentor program with you. And I'd also like to let you guys know tomorrow, Tuesday, is the real deal talk. Okay. And this is a free program that we started and basically is aligning all probate agents from all over the country. I'm going to say the world, all over the world, globally, because you know what, guys? Probate is happening everywhere. It's happening in every state, every city, every country. And for realtors that are looking for a consistent lead flow, a lead flow that you know every single week, there's people that need your services. You can provide a valuable service, help a family in need, and get compensated. And let me tell you guys, 9 times out of 10, I'm making double the standard listing commission. Okay. So not only is it a consistent lead source, it's a very profitable lead source. Okay. So I'm going to, if you would like, good morning, Nicole. Good morning, Eartha. I'm happy you guys are here. So we are actually going to do a case study. Now, for the people that are joining me on Instagram, it will be a little bit different of an experience. If you want to jump over to YouTube to get the full experience, that would be a better viewing. But I'm going to see, good morning, I'm going to see how I can make this work, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And what we're going to be doing is actually looking at a property tour of a family that I recently helped, okay? And this was a doozy, guys. All right. And in probate, you're dealing with family dynamics. Okay. So you're not just like selling the house. Like I actually got an opportunity to take a listing over the weekend, and it was a totally normal listing. Okay. And I was almost like, I was just like, this is way too easy. Like I'm like, I don't feel no challenge here, you know? Because when you get a regular listing, the house is like beautiful. They had just had it all cleaned. It was perfect. Like they were there telling me about all the upgrades they've done and everything they've done to the house, you know? And in probate, it's completely opposite. You go to the house and it is a hot mess express, okay? And you're basically helping the family put it all together and, be that guiding light for them. So yes, I do sell regular houses in my sleep. Like selling a house is the easiest thing I'll do. But I really enjoy the puzzle. I enjoy solving the problems for the family. And the one that we're going to go over today was a doozy. Okay. But we got it done, and the family is forever happy. And I got paid, he got paid, everybody won in the situation. And a lot of times, what happens in probate is that if there's not that guiding light, if there's not somebody there kind of helping the family through that process, what ends up happening to these houses is they sell for 70% of what they're actually worth, right? Some of them go into foreclosure. Some of them, like this guy, when we get into the story, he didn't even know what to do. Like he was actually going to lose one of these houses, okay? So let's go ahead and let's dive in. And like I said, if you want to get the full experience, jump over to YouTube. Absolute Top Dollar is my YouTube channel, because I'm going to be sharing my screen, and I am planning on turning the camera so you guys can see. I don't know which would be better, me just talking or, you seeing the house. Now, the house is a little scary, guys, so prepare yourself, okay? And so once I get this playing, then I'm going to start telling the story while we are going through it, okay? So just give me 2 seconds here. Let me pull this up. And so, how do you think that I got this lead? How do you think I got this lead? Anybody in the chat, how do you think I got this lead? If you know Carolyn, how do you think she got this lead? Let's see if anybody can put it in the chat here. Okay. I don't see anything yet. So you guys are probably driving or something, putting on your makeup. I'll go ahead and give you the heads up. I got the lead from a cold call. Yep. And I'm sure referring. No, I didn't. Your girl got it from a cold call. Okay. Thank you. Yes, AZ Tribin, he got it. Yep, I got it from a cold call. And most of my transactions I get through cold calls. Okay. I do get referrals, obviously, right? But yep, Eartha's on my YouTube. Cold call. Woohoo, you guys get points. So, what I teach in my training group is how to get business from cold calls, right? So, Melissa had stated, a referral. Well, yeah, those are nice. And I do get referrals from attorneys, but I'm not going to just be sitting around waiting for a referral when I know that there's families out there that need my help. And you know what's really weird is that a lot of times attorneys don't even send out a referral. They don't get involved with the probate, with the house component of selling the house. They don't get involved at all. Okay. So this is our opportunity as a real estate professional to be able to go ahead and work with these families directly, right? So I'm going ahead and I'm sharing my screen now. All right. And I know Eartha's here online. Okay. Yes, you guessed it. This is a hoarder house. Now I'm gonna see if I could share, if I could turn, if you guys could see it here. So it's kind of ghetto, but can you guys see? Oh, hold on. There's a better way to do this, Carolyn. Let me turn my screen around. So, yeah, so this was a hoarder house that this guy inherited. Okay, so you guys could kind of see it from here. All right. And so let me tell you a little bit about this cold call. All right. Is when I got on the cold call with this individual, it actually wasn't the personal representative. It was actually his wife. Okay. And she told me that he has refused to speak to anybody, that he's so overwhelmed, he doesn't know what to do. She shared that, she was very frustrated in the situation. Eartha, are you seeing the video on YouTube? It's supposed to be sharing. Just want to double check. Oh, it says stop. It says it paused. Sorry, guys, technical difficulties here. Um, let's see here. No, continue. Continue my screen share. Um, so the point was, oh gosh, guys, I gotta get better. I gotta get technology better. Hold on a second. Um, so the point of the story is that this family, I spoke with the here we go. I spoke with the wife, and this is something really important to share, is that you're not always going to be speaking with the personal representative themselves, okay? A lot of times when you get probate leads, you are going to be speaking with the family members. Hi, Ciro. Hi, Devin. Um, we're actually doing a screen share on YouTube right now. Instagram is not really technology working, so all you got is me on Instagram, okay? But what we're doing is we're actually watching a property tour of a family that I got from a cold call, okay? And we're breaking this down. So I get the call from the lady, and I introduce our services. I let her know what we do in our community, how we help families that are going through probate. And she said, and she was like, well, my husband's not willing to talk to anybody. He's not taking any of these calls. Like, he doesn't want to talk to anyone. And so Carolyn, in true Carolyn fashion, and Devin and Ciro know what time it is, I told the lady, well, listen, not a problem. If your husband doesn't want to talk to me, let's me and you talk, okay? And let me look into this for you and see how I might be able to help you. And then, you can bring the information to him on what, because we specialize in this. This is what we do to help families. So let's see if we can do that. So I went ahead and set the appointment with the wife. Okay. I'm not waiting for the husband. I'm not speaking to the personal representative. I'm just here to give information. I'm just here to educate and to help provide some value. And hey, maybe in the end, I'll get a deal, right? It's never a guarantee. Nothing in real estate is a guarantee, right? So then, so basically, we go ahead, we set up the appointment, and the when I get to that call that day, it's the husband. Okay. So I guess he decided that he would take my call, right? So that's a lesson in itself, right? Is that how many people would not move forward? How many people would not even set that appointment because they weren't dealing with the person directly themselves, right? So I'm a firm believer in, just talking with the family. Because remember, this is a family decision. In probate, it's not one person, it's not one seller, it's the estate. It's a family decision. So if I get a brother, sister, dad, whoever on the phone and they want to talk about their probate property, then I'm going to talk about it with them and see if we can come to terms and we can help each other. Okay. So for the people that are on Instagram, this house is loaded to the rim. Okay. And I'm here to tell you, this isn't even the worst of it. Okay. So when I get on the phone with this family, what I end up finding out is that um, this family, their dad had actually passed away first. Okay. And then the dad passed away. And then about 6 months later, the mom passed away. Okay. So not only did this poor guy have to deal with one estate, he had to deal with two estates. Okay. Two estates. And when I had spoken with him, based on the probate case that I was calling him on, they had only had the estate opened for, forget if it was they only had the estate open for the mom, which the mom was the second one that had passed away. So when I'm talking to him, I'm thinking to myself, well, what is the attorney doing about your dad's estate? Because in Florida, when somebody passes away, right, the line of inheritance goes immediately to your spouse, right? So like husband and wife, if a husband or wife dies, the house, the homesteaded property goes immediately to the wife, right? And then if there's no spouse, then it would go to the kids. If there's no kids, then it would go to the brother and sister. If there's no brothers and sisters, then it goes to cousins and so on, right? So now you have basically a beneficiary that their dad passed and then their mom passed. So basically, mom was going to inherit dad's house, okay? But now mom passed, so now it would all flow down to their son, okay? So, but the interesting thing is that the probate had only been opened in the mom's name. So that was an obvious question for me when I started working with this family. Is I'm like, well, what happened with, what happened with oh, I think I can make my screen bigger here. What happened with you know dad's house? What are we going to do with dad's house? Now this is a hoarder house, guys. Okay, Instagram can't see it, but YouTube, you're seeing it. Okay, this is a real deal Holyfield hoarder house. Okay, the guy that I worked with, the executive of the estate, was, very troubled. He was an amazing guy. And, he was just like, I didn't understand why my parents did this. They own two properties. Okay. And they treated both properties the same, right? They didn't really take care of them. They treated both properties the same. Okay. So now I'm going to actually show you, okay? Let me stop the share. I'm going to show you the other house, okay? So if you're watching here on Alicia, welcome. I see LEMFS LLC. You guys got to get your Instagram handle so people know who you are. But let me show you this other one, okay? So they actually owned another property that was directly across the street, okay? And so basically, the family inherited two hoarder houses. Two hoarder houses. Hoarders are a certain breed. Yes, yes, Devin, they are. Okay. And, imagine, I've worked with actually quite a few hoarder houses being in probate, because when people get older, sometimes they get set in their ways, and I've heard families tell me, like, we tried to have an air conditioning guy go over to, help mom's house, but they refused to let anybody in the house. I had one family that she said that, mom told them to never go to their house, that she didn't want them to go to her house, and they respected it. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to listen to my mom, okay? Like, my mom tells me not to go to the house, and there's suspicion that she's become a hoarder, okay? I'm going over there, but people, is that's how they did it. They respected it, right? But the grief and the burden of the family when this happens to them, and when they inherit these properties is really tough, guys, because there's a component of embarrassment, right? There's a component of, just what am I going to do? And that's where this guy was. He was embarrassed. He didn't know what to do. He was overwhelmed, okay? So the people that are with me on YouTube, we're going into the second house. Now, if you thought the first one was bad, this one is 10 times worse, okay? And he said to me, he was like, do you want to go in here? And I was like, we got to though. Like, we got to walk the house, right? So I literally walked this whole property. You walk it once, I was done. Never gonna walk it again. And I'm gonna share with you how I ended up selling these houses. And just the reactions of the investors that came out was hilarious. Okay. So basically, as you can see, it's way worse than the first one. So I think all the mischief started in this house, and then they went over to the other house and they started doing the same thing. Um, and so basically, this is the obvious question that everybody has about hoarder houses, especially when, from a professional's perspective, and you're coming in as a um, professional to give advice, right? So from my experience, not to say that this is 100% across the board every single time, but from my experience, okay, it is better to just sell the house as is. Do not even attempt to clean this house out, okay? The amount of money it'll take to clean these houses out, okay, you're talking about, to clean out a hoarder house, you're talking about minimum 10 grand minimum, because a hoarder house, in order, like, a normal clean out is like 5 grand, okay. A hoarder house, they have to take special precautions with biohazard and things like that. Like, they've got to wear special gears and things like that. They can't just, come into this house like it's like just a regular property, right? So there is a level of specialized type of care that junk removal companies have to do when they're clearing these houses out. And also, when you remove all the stuff from that house, okay, what do you think the condition of the floor is? What do you think the condition of the cabinets are? What do you think the condition of the house is, right? This is a house where people are not using the showers, they're not using the toilets like regular, right? So everything is kind of, I've seen those people on TikTok shorts or whatever, and those ladies that go in there and they clean out the hoarder houses. I mean, it's crazy, right? But so what I typically recommend is leaving the house completely as is. Yes, yes. Have you seen those? Leaving the house completely as is, and then just selling it like that. Because the investor that is gonna buy this house, who's gonna buy this house, guys? Who is buying a hoarder house? Not a first-time home buyer. Okay, not a primary buyer. Okay, the only people that are going to buy a hoarder house is an investor. Okay. And when an investor buys a house, what do? They renovate the house, right? So they're going to put in new floors, new kitchen, new bathrooms, everything. She said investors probably get a big discount for the price. Well, that's a great point, and we're going to talk about that, about why is it better for a family to use us, right, to help them sell the property, okay, instead of them just working with an off-market investor. And I'm actually working on a property right now, and it's a great example of, what some investors are willing to offer versus what other ones are willing to offer. Um, so my advice to him with this house in its all of its glory, all of its condition, was we are going to leave it as is, okay? And we are going to do what I like to do in my market is I like to do investor open houses, okay? So what I'll do is I'll take a picture of the front of the house. I'm not going to put the picture of everything inside of the house, okay? I'm just going to put a picture in front of the house. And then from there, I'm going to basically say, in calling all investors, this is a fix and flip project. We are hosting an open house for investors. Okay. Typically, these open houses, I'll do them during the week, like a Wednesday, or I like to do them sometimes on Fridays. But basically, you'll put it on the MLS, you'll market it, and then you'll have all the investors come out. You'll send it out to, if you have an investor list, send it out to all of those guys. What I like to do is get the investors out there in person to actually walk the property. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the screen share on YouTube. Uh, Let me see if Eartha is still there. So what I like to do, um, Eartha, what did you think about that house? We got some people watching on YouTube. What did you guys think about that house? Was it crazy or what? So if you guys want to see it later, go on to YouTube and you'll see the house that we're talking about. And so what investors, will send you all these offers, right? They'll send you, oh, I'll pay this for this, I'll pay this for this. But every single offer has an inspection period, right? So basically, the offer is not as good as the paper that it's written on because they're just going to say, oh, yeah, I'll pay this for the house. But then when they actually come out to the property, they don't, Eartha said, wow, scary. When they actually come out to the property and they see what it's like, then they're going to say, oh, well, I got to redo my offer, right? So I typically don't like to take investor offers with inspection periods, or especially investors offers that have not walked the property. And this is a huge thing in probate, guys. So you're going to have a bunch of people sending you offers, but they've never even come out to the house. So to me, that offer isn't as good as the paper that it's written on. And some investors say, well, that's my process and that's what I do. I say, well, this is my process and this is what I do, right? So if you're a serious investor, you're going to come out, you're going to take a look at the house, you're going to walk the property, and investors don't need inspection periods. Why? Because they're going to rip everything out anyways, and their offer is going to be based on everything needing to be updated. So a lot of times, guys, you can get investors to just do completely as is offers, which is the best, and it saves a lot of time for all of us. So let's go into what needed to be done now, right? Because remember, when I got this deal, it had only, the estate was only opened up in the mom's name, but the mom had inherited the dad's house and there was nothing about that in their probate case. Okay. So once his family, I gave them the plan, they were just so happy to honestly just have somebody else deal with this, right? To just have somebody else handle this and guide them through the process. They were very, very happy for this to happen. Okay. So they instantly signed up with me. They were like, Carolyn, thank you so much. We definitely want to work with you. We definitely want you to just go ahead and handle this for us. So we went ahead and executed listing paperwork. And the first thing on my list when I started to work with this family was not, hey, let me go put it in the MLS, let me go market this. My first thing that I did was I said, let me call this probate attorney. Okay. Because guys, remember, in probate, is that we're only as good as the probate attorney. We're only as good as the court authorization to sell the property. So if the property is still in mom and dad's name, when you go to title and you say, oh, well, this was the dad's house and mom inherited it, the title companies and say, no, it doesn't work that way. We need probate documentation showing that the property is being transferred from this person's name over to this person's name, right? So my first call was to the probate attorney and basically introduce myself, say I'm the real estate company that's going to be working with the family on selling these properties. Not sure if you know, the houses are in really bad condition. They're subject to code violations. They're in very poor shape. We really need to get this moving for the family. And that's where I basically start peeling the onion with him and asking him what he was planning on doing with the first house, the dad's estate. And he said, well, I was just waiting, for the executor to, tell me what he wanted to do. And it's like, you were waiting for the executor to tell you what to do? Right? Because has the executor ever done this before in his life? No. Does he know what to do? No. Right? And so I told him, I said, well, I think, he wants to sell both of the properties. Like I basically kind of like, got him going, in the sense of like, hey, what needs to be done here? And then he came in with, what paperwork needed to be filed and what needed to be done and all the things. So now we got his dad's case on the track, okay? Because remember, if I would go forward and sell that house, I'm not closing. Nobody's going anywhere. So in probate, we always got to make sure that our beneficiaries are all, intact. We got to make sure the probate attorney is good. We got to make sure that the probate case is moving forward, right? Those things are all happening prior to us actually going and selling the house and finding a buyer. Okay, so we were able to go ahead and get everything done. I will say this is that we did have quite a bit of issues with the probate attorney. And it's things that you guys don't really think would be a problem. But there was one time that we were actually waiting, literally waiting. We were following up every like 3 days. Like it's normally something that the authorization in my local area, the judge will normally sign within like a week. Okay. We were literally waiting and waiting and waiting for this court authorization to come through. And you know what it was? What it came down to, what it boiled down to why we weren't getting our paperwork? Because he had filed the incorrect petition requesting the sale. So complete just negligence, like just complete like, oops, oh, sorry, filed the wrong document, you know? And these are the things that you're saying, I don't know, I'm waiting on my attorney, I'm waiting on my attorney, I'm waiting on my attorney, right? And what you don't realize, and if it wasn't for us that was like pushing, 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 we may not have ever gotten the paper. Like the guy, like he was like, oh, we're just waiting on the attorney. Ended up having to call the judge's desk where you can speak to the judge's secretary, and she was the one that ended up telling us that the paper was incorrectly filed. Then we went to the probate attorney and said, dude, your paperwork is incorrectly filed. Can you please, for the love of probate, help us out here? Like we're trying to get these houses settled. There was also like some tax lien situation going on with the house from past due taxes. Like, and because we missed the deadline, he didn't get the original agreed amount that we were gonna settle at. It was just all these things that were going on. And we finally got all of our approvals, and we were able to go ahead and get our clearance to sell the house, right? So guys, anybody that's here, I see we've got about 20-ish people here on YouTube, and we've got people on Instagram. If you're hearing me, if you're watching this, ask me some questions. Let's make this impactful, right? Like, what are you guys thinking right now? Like, are you guys like, whoa, this is crazy town or what? Okay. Send me some comments or some questions. I'd love to be resourceful to you right here where we can actually answer some of your thoughts that you have in your mind. And also we would love for you to join us at the Real Deal Talk, okay? The Real Deal Talk goes on every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay, and we do property cases, probate case breakdowns like this. We get together. We had a Chew on here, a probate lead provider. We just network with probate realtors all over the country. It's an open forum, and it's Tuesdays at 7 p.m. So the link is in my bio and Instagram, and then on YouTube, it's in my banner. You just click on it, go to the Stand store, and you can sign up. It's free. And I'd also like to let you guys know the last Wednesday of the month, I host a probate master class. Okay. So if you're watching this, if you've been following me and you're like, Carolyn, 100%, I want to start doing probate deals. I want to get in, but I don't know nothing about no probate. Okay. Then I highly recommend you get into that probate masterclass. Okay. It's 4 hours with me if you can handle it. Okay. And it's from beginning to end. Where do we find the probate deals? Where do we find it? What do we do with those leads? Once we book it and how we get appointments and then how we actually close the appointments. So it's literally from beginning to end, 4 hours with Carolyn Castillo teaching you everything that I know about probate real estate. Okay. So if you're interested in that, definitely consider it. Okay. We have a question here. Thank you, Kiana. It says, good morning. Can you talk about the listing presentation since this is a probate listing? How does it differ from a traditional listing? So the funny thing about me and listing presentations is in probate, they don't care about all of your accolades, right? They don't care about how many houses you've sold. They don't care about if you're with, the number one office in America, right? What they care about is you being able to solve their problems, right? So as we're talking about this case right now, like everything that you think it was about, like, oh, let me show you, all of my marketing that I do. Let me show you, how great EXP is. Let me show you this, right? That's a traditional listing presentation, right? And I used to do those. I did those for a long time when I did traditional real estate, when I did for sale by owners, expireds. You break out like your marketing plan and everything that you're going to do to sell the property for them. In probate, it's all about the situation, right? So it's all about, what needs to get done? How are we going to help the family get past this moment? So when I met with this family, well, we needed to see what was going to be the most cost effective way to sell these properties, right? What was going to be the best way to sell the properties, right? Clean it out or don't clean it out, right? Then it was going to be, we've got to get the probate case in line, right? Because right now he only had a probate on his mom's property. He didn't have a probate on dad's property, right? And so then it was a matter of us kind of taking the reins for him. Also, one thing that I do is I tell them, send me all the calls. So all the investors that were blowing up his phone, I say, hey, just give them my phone number and I'll take all those calls for you, right? So in probate, it's about saying, this is what we're going to do to help your family get from A to B, right? So I hope that makes sense for you, Kiana. Eartha says, how do you price the listing since it's a hoarder house? Great question. So a hoarder house is basically, if you figure that, to clean out a hoarder house is probably like 10-ish, 10 grand, give or take, then you want to just look at, in your area, you want to look at a ARV, and you want to see what do these houses sell for, right? Fully renovated from top to bottom, what do they sell for, right? And then a lot of times you can just go in and you can look at the records of what that investor actually bought it for. That's what I was doing this weekend with the property that I'm working on right now. Is I was looking at the houses that were fully renovated, go back into the tax records, and you can see, oh wow, the investor bought it for this price, right? So that's a good way to see what are investors buying these houses for in this community. Once you get that, then you want to add on a little bit more because it's a hoarder house, because they are going to have to invest anywhere from 10 to 15,000 in getting that thing cleaned out, right? And then I just basically put it like that at fair market value. If I can find about, 3 to 4 comps of investors that bought and fully renovated and sold, then I will use that as my comp. And that's actually what I would go on the market with. And so I believe on these actual properties, we sold both of them for 150,000, okay? And the investor turned around and fixed it, renovated it, did everything, and I believe sold them for 350,000, okay? So the investor did make money, but our client actually got fair market value, because what he was getting before that is people were telling him they would give him 80,000 for the property, 100,000 for the property, 70,000 for the property, and that's what you're going to find when you're off market, right? But if you have a professional like us guys, right, that can say, hey, this is actually what fair market value is for a investor offer, then now we can actually set the bar for the investors and get the customer the most money possible, for their inheritance. And listen, this was by no means this gentleman's problem, right? Like, he inherited this problem, and so now it's in my best interest to help him maximize, get over this situation, handle it in a professional way, right? And he was super happy, super blessed. Like I said, we organized everything from the probate to the investor sale to the guidance to the support, even when his attorney was filing the incorrect paperwork. I know it sounds crazy, right? Like, how does this happen? But it does. But it does. Okay. So, amazing, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. I hope that this was helpful. Kind of seeing like behind the scenes. Yes, this was from a cold call. Okay. This was a cold call. And, I think probably I would have to do the math. I'm not good with math, girly. But I always like to put it in perspective of, you made one call that day, you made one contact, you booked one appointment, and very likely working on those two properties, I probably made, somewhere between 15 to 20,000, right? Like, I don't have the calculator, I'm going to do the math right now, okay? But we did charge a premier commission, and we did handle this for the family. And hey, I know this is kind of crazy, guys, but I like doing this stuff. I like helping families like untangle a web. Don't get me wrong, I'll take a nice, easy listing, here and there, no problem. But with my career, I had just gotten like unfulfilled by the traditional listing market, and when I got into probate and I was actually able to like help families like unsort these messes and these tangles, and I was able to get a higher commission. I'm not competing with a bunch of people, I'm just providing genuine help and blessing the family, blessing my family, blessing the investor. We all win, guys. Okay. So get out there, think about probate, come hang out with me at the Real Deal Talk. As always, if you say, Carolyn, I want to get started today, okay? Well, my link is right there. So go ahead and book an appointment with me. It'd be my honor to share with you how I mentor and coach agents and teach you how to do exactly my same process in your area. Okay, guys? So be blessed. Have a powerful week. And I hope to see you at the Real Deal Talk tomorrow night. Otherwise, catch you on the flip side. Okay, bye. Bye, Eartha. Bye, everybody. Thank you guys for coming here live.